A little swamp ain't gonna never hurt nothing.
That's right. I wanted to ask you about the new album, The Shine. Seems like you're getting a little bit, certainly back to basics on this album. It's pretty simple, kind of stripped down. Not a lot of special guests or anything. You recorded this in your home studio?
Yeah, well, it's an old house down in Franklin, Tennessee that back in the 1800s, 90s, some 1890s, something like that, was built, and real old high ceilings and all wood, and just got real good acoustics in it. And we've had it for about 16, 17 years, just with the studio, reel to reel, 16 track, old microphones like the RE20s and stuff like that in it. And we've got the last 5 or 6 albums there, and although some of them, Jody, my son, who works with me and produces, when we had the guests like Clapton, them, and Knopfler, they had to Pro Toot it a little bit because of the distance of the ocean, you know.
Huh.
But most of them came there, like Knopfler was there, and then the girls, Amy Lou and Shelby, all of them, they love to come out to the little studio and sing because you can just sing in the room and your voice sounds good. You don't have to do nothing to it.
Great acoustics, and is it soundproofed kind of thing, or
no? It's still just an old house like it was at first. It was actually used as the front part of it as a doctor's office and hospital in the war days.
Wow!
And so the old house has a lot of women had a lot of babies there to come there and have babies, and so the old house has a lot of stories, I would imagine. And sometime when you're in there late at night, 1 or 2 in the morning recording and by yourself, you kind of look around and think about, good night, how old this whole place is. But it's always got a good warm feeling.
These songs, this batch of songs, they came to you as I was reading a little bit about you, and it was talking about how you were talking about how these songs just come to you, and then you got to just get them out there, and the whole recording process was kind of like that as well. It sounds kind of mystical. I mean, when you say a song just comes to you, what do you mean by that? Like it literally just the words and everything, or
a song like sometimes maybe just a guitar lick to start with, or a line or a title of a song, and then that's when I go back to the river and the fire and the guitar comes out, and I start actually sit down and start giving it a lot of thought, and then when it stays in my head for days and days, like a guitar lick or anything, it'll finally run me back to the river and the fire again, and sooner or later it shows itself to me, and to go in and be allowed to record it in an environment like that where there's no one looking over your shoulder or a time clock or anything, I think the songs are glad that they come by me and are able to get out in the world this way.
Yeah. So was it fairly easy to create a simple album? Even though, to call it simple, like that was sort of like the mission behind this record was to keep it simple. Was that easy to do?
Well, simplicity through the years has always been one of my main things, like for recording, even though we did the 2 albums with a lot of my heroes on it or heroines on it, there was still a lot of simplicity in the music involved. That's why they wanted to come and sing on it, because they were actually demos that I had cut, and there was just bass and drums and my guitar, and when it would come to their part, I would take my voice out and let them do the verse. So that was what was kind of kicking everybody in, was the simplicity of the whole thing, like drums, bass, a little bit of piano or organ or whatever in the background, but simplicity is very hard to get. And it's like, even when I'm overdubbing a guitar part or something, and you get excited and you find out at the end of the song when you hear the playback that instead of 25 licks, you could have done 10 or 5, even break it on down, which was going back to the Heroes again, the album of Clapton, when he first put his part on. He put 2 guitars on, and I mean, licks were flying everywhere. He had so many. It's just beautiful, you know.
Right.
He said, I'll sleep on it, and the next day he came back in there and erased 2/3 of everything he'd done.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like, I'm going, oh man, just throw some of them over this way. We'll keep them.
I guess that's the process of editing, you know.
So
Yeah.
a lot of people like him, J.J. Cale, all of us strive for simplicity, and it's not hard to get when you get excited to play and stuff, and your fingers start going at it, and you kind of overdo it a little bit. It's easy to see how you can miss it.
Right. Yeah, you talk about recording with Clapton and Mark Knopfler and J.J. Cale, and then the women artists that have come in. Emmylou Harris, one of my all-time faves. Had you recorded with her before?
I had never recorded with anybody before. I'd always pretty well been just a panther in the swamps, you know.
Yeah.
But these people were always, like I said, I looked up to them a lot. The guitar players especially, and the women with their voices and the singing and the naturalness. And it was like Elvis was one of the biggest in the world heroes, and all of a sudden to hear him doing one of your tunes, because I used to, in the clubs in Texas and Louisiana when I was first starting, I was doing Lightning Hopkins, Elvis, and John Lee Hooker on stage.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden here he is doing one of yours or two, and it's like you think right then there is no limit to music and how many miles it can reach out.
It had to be a surreal experience to see Elvis Presley recorded one of your songs. Or Ray Charles, for that matter.
It was Ray and all of them.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It was in the days when he was doing really, really cool, really doing good in Las Vegas with the comeback and everything. It was hard and trim, and they sent a plane down to Memphis to pick me and Leanne up and flew us to Las Vegas to watch them record it live each night on stage. So we sat out there a week, and every night they would do it and they would record it, you know, and then we'd sit backstage in the dressing room and acoustic guitar like this and play a few things, and he'd always say, hit me a little blues lick there, let me see if I can learn it, and I'd hit him something other, and he'd mess with it a while. Because he really didn't play like guitar, but he was so always cool. Every time I was around him, he treated me really good.
Leanne, you mentioned that's your wife, and she co-writes with you sometimes, is that right?
Yeah, she's been in on, down through the years, some real good songs with me, and on this album, I think there's maybe 3 or 4, I don't know exactly, that we had worked through the winter on. And she was actually the other half of Undercover Agent for the Blues, which kicked the Tina Turner album thing off with us, with Steamy Windows and all that on it.
Foreign Affair?
Foreign Affair.
Yeah.
And anyway, Undercover Agent was what got Tina hooked on that tape that had all them songs on it.
Yeah.
And she wanted me to play guitar on the session, and I flew out, and we cut Undercover Agent, and then she come over to me and she said, I heard another song on there I really like, I want to do it. So what is it? She said, Steamy Windows. So but then I was just floating, man.
Yeah, when Tina Turner wants to cut one of your songs, okay.
So here's 2 that we've done finished in the studio, and I get back to the hotel that night, and a phone call to the room, and it's Roger Davies, her manager, and he said, well, Tina found a couple more songs on that tape that we're going to get up in the morning at 10 and do one of them here in New York, and then we're going to fly to London to do the other one. I mean, these people are moving very fast.
She ended up doing what, about 4 songs?
4, yeah.
Wow.
And anyway, Foreign Affair, she wanted to do it, wanted me to cut the tracks in London, and we'd laid all them down. And then she wanted everybody to fly to Paris, and that's where she wanted to sing it.
Mm.
She said, I just feel like singing it over there, Foreign Affair. And it was one of them deals where she reared back in one take, and it was over with.
Oh, yeah, I bet. She just seems like such a bundle of energy and just explosive talent.
Just so natural and just so real, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.